All right, welcome back. Let's start with this first example here. We want to take the derivative of the quantity x squared plus 6 to the 70th power. Now that seems a little intimidating, but we can do this fairly easily using our chain rule process. And you'll notice that I have the chain rule down here that we can reference as we go through these problems, as well as another way to think about it, where really we are taking the derivative of our outside function times the derivative of our inside function, because when we use the chain rule, we are taking derivatives of composite functions where one function is within another. And so in this case, we want to try to identify what our outer and inner function is for this function. And so from looking at this function, I see that our inner function is going to be x squared plus 6. So I will write inner, and that is x squared plus 6, which means this outside function is going to be this quantity to the 70th power, which would just be x to the 70th power. So we would have that the outer is x to the 70th, right? Because if I were to plug in this inner function, x squared plus 6, into the x of this function, we would have this composite function that we are given here. So now we're ready to take the derivative. This is going to be equal to the derivative of our outer function, which we said is x to the 70th power. But remember, we want to keep that inside function the same while we're taking the derivative of the outside function. We'll worry about taking the derivative of the inside function after we are done with this part. And so to take the derivative of the outside function, we're going to use the power rule, and we will multiply 70 by our quantity of x squared plus 6. Remember, do not change that inside function. And then we're going to subtract 1 from our exponent as we normally do when we take the derivative with the power rule. And then our next step is to multiply by the derivative of our inside function, right? And so our inside function is x squared plus 6. And so what would be the derivative of x squared plus 6? Well, that is going to be just 2x plus 0, right? The derivative of x squared would be 2x, and the derivative of 6 would be 0. So we'd have 2x plus 0, and that would just be 2x. All right, and now we're ready to simplify our answer, and we will have that this is equal to this 2 times 70, so we'll have 140, and then I'll bring this x out front. We'll have 140x, and then it's going to be multiplied by this quantity, x squared plus 6, to the 69th power, because 70 minus 1 is 69. Nice. All right, so that is the answer to this derivative in this case. Let's look at another example. All right, so next we want to take the derivative of 7 times tangent of x cubed. And so once again, we have a composite function where we are going to want to use the chain rule to take its derivative. And so let's first identify our inner and outer functions. Our inner function in this case is going to be this x cubed, because this x cubed is inside of this tangent function. So we have that the inner function is x cubed, which means that our outer function is going to be tangent x, or I guess you could say it would be 7 times tangent x. And so let's go through this derivative using our chain rule. This is going to be equal to the derivative of our outer function, right? So we're going to have 7 times the derivative of tangent x, which we know is secant squared x. So we're going to have secant squared, and remember to keep our inside function the same, x cubed, and then we're going to multiply by the derivative of our inside function, which is x cubed, right? Our inside function is x cubed, and so the derivative of that would be 3 times x squared. And then we can simplify. This will be equal to 7 times 3x squared, so we'll have 21x squared times secant squared of x cubed. And so that would be the answer to the derivative of this function. Let's do another example. Next, we want to take the derivative of the cubed root of 4x plus 1. So once again, we have another composite function, and so let's identify what our inner and our outer functions are so that we can more easily take our derivative using the chain rule. In this case, our inner function is going to be this 4x plus 1, which leaves our outer function to be the cubed root, because this 4x plus 1 is inside of this cubed root function. So our outer function is going to be the cubed root of x, and our inner function is going to be 4x plus 1. And so now let's take our derivative. But before we do that, it's always nice to change our root functions to a power so that we can more easily see how to use our power rule. So normally we would redefine the cubed root of x to be x to the 1/3 power. And so I'm going to do that for this function up here. We're going to have that this is equal to the derivative of 4x plus 1 to the 1/3 power. So it's nice to rewrite it like that so that we can see our power when we go to take the derivative of our outside function. And so that's actually our next step. We are going to take the derivative of this function, and we'll start that by taking the derivative of our outside function, which we said is x to the 1/3 power. So we're going to have that 1/3 exponent multiplied by our quantity, 4x plus 1. Remember, do not change that inner function. We're only taking the derivative of our outside function right now, and then we subtract 1 from our exponent. Now we can take the derivative of our inside function and multiply it by the derivative that we just took there of our outside function. So our inside function is 4x plus 1, and so the derivative of that will be 4, right? The derivative of 4x is 4, plus 0 because the derivative of 1, or the derivative of a constant, is always 0. So we're going to have times 4. And so then this will be equal to 4/3, right? If we bring that 4 over here, we'll have 4/3, and this will be multiplied by 4x plus 1 to the negative 2/3 power, because 1/3 minus 1 is going to be negative 2/3. And then finally, we can simplify this one more time by moving this quantity with the negative exponent to our denominator so that we then have a positive exponent. So this will be equal to 4 divided by 3 times 4x plus 1 to the 2/3 power. And so that would be the final answer, or the derivative, to our original function that we started with. All right, next we have the function x divided by x plus 5 quantity to the 4th power. And we want to find f prime of x, or the derivative of that given function. So here we have a composite function where our inside function is x divided by x plus 5, and our outside function is this quantity to the 4th power, or x to the 4th. So I will quickly write that. We will have that the outer is x to the 4th, and our inner is going to be x divided by x plus 5. Now this one is going to be a little bit tricky because now we're going to be taking a derivative of a function that requires the quotient rule. So you'll see that our inner function is a quotient of two functions. So we're going to have to use the quotient rule as well as the chain rule in this example. So let's go through this piece by piece, and it actually won't be as difficult as it may seem. So we will have that f prime of x is equal to the derivative of our outside function first, right? That is the first part of our chain rule. Take the derivative of our outside function. In this case, that is x to the 4th. So we'll keep our inside function the same, and we will have 4 times x divided by x plus 5 to the 4th power minus 1. And so that would be our derivative of our outside function. Then we want to multiply by the derivative of our inside function, which we said is going to require the quotient rule. And so let's go through our quotient rule here. First, we're going to have our denominator function, or our bottom function, x plus 5, multiplied by the derivative of our top function, or our numerator function, which in this case is x. And so the derivative of x is just 1, so we'll multiply that by 1. Then we're going to subtract the original top function, or the original numerator function of x, and multiply that by the derivative of our denominator function, or our bottom function. And that is also going to be 1, because the derivative of x is just 1, and the derivative of 5 is 0. So 1 plus 0 is just 1. And then finally, in our denominator, we are going to have the bottom function, or the denominator function, squared. So we'll have x plus 5 squared. All right, and now we are ready to simplify. So we'll have that this is equal to 4 times x divided by x plus 5 to the 3rd power, and that will be multiplied by x plus 5 minus x divided by x plus 5 squared. And now I'll notice that this x and this negative x will cancel out, so we'll just have that 5 on the top. And there's actually a little bit more simplifying we can do, so I'm going to clean up my work a little bit here so that we have some space to do it. All right, so our next step, we'll have this equal to 4 times, and I'm actually going to cube both the top and the bottom functions of this quantity, and you'll see why in a second. It's going to make our simplification even nicer. So we're going to have x cubed on the top divided by x plus 5 cubed on the bottom, and that's going to be multiplied by 5, which is all that's going to be left on the top here after these x's cancel out, divided by x plus 5 squared. And now you can see that we're going to have some nice simplifying here, and so that will lead us to our final step, that this is going to be equal to this 4 times 5 times x cubed. So we're going to have 20x cubed divided by the same quantities here, right? We have x plus 5 and x plus 5 to the 3rd power and the 2nd power. So multiplying those together, we would add their exponents, and we will have that the denominator is x plus 5 to the 5th power. And so that would be our answer, or our derivative, to this function that we started with. So that was an example of where you would use the chain rule, but you also have to use the quotient rule. So that's kind of a neat example. Let's move on to our next one. All right, so next we have y equals cosine of 3x times sine of 3x, and we want to know the derivative, or dy dx, for this function. Now, we actually have two composite functions here. We have cosine of 3x, and we have sine of 3x, which are both composite functions because our outside function for this one would be cosine, and our inside function would be 3x, and then over here we have our outside function would be sine, and our inside function would be 3x, and we also have these two functions multiplied together, so that means that we actually have a product rule and two chain rules. So this is a little complex, but it's nothing that we can't do. So let's go through and take the derivative of this function. And you'll notice that we're actually going to be starting with the process of the product rule because we have two functions multiplied together. So let's just get right into it. We have dy dx is going to be equal to our product rule process. So let's think about our product rule here. We start by writing our original first function, which in this case is going to be cosine 3x. So we'll have cosine 3x multiplied by the derivative of our second function. So now this is where our chain rule comes into play. Let's quickly identify that our outside function here is sine, and our inside function is 3x. So in order to take the derivative of this function, let's start by taking the derivative of the outer function, which is sine of 3x. And the derivative of sine of 3x is going to be cosine of 3x, right? The derivative of sine is cosine, but we want to keep that inside function the same. So now we already took the derivative of our outside function, but now we need to take the derivative of our inside function, which we said was 3x, and the derivative of 3x is going to be 3. And now we are ready to move on to our second part of the product rule, where we will add the original second function times the derivative of the first function. So let's start by writing down that original second function. We're going to have sine of 3x, and that's going to be multiplied by the derivative of our first function here. So once again, we have another chain rule to take care of. We have this cosine as our outer function and this 3x as our inner function. So let's start by taking the derivative of the outer function cosine. So this is going to be multiplied by negative sine of 3x, right? Remember to keep that inside function the same. You do not want to change that. Then we're going to multiply by the derivative of that inside function. So the derivative of 3x, once again, is just 3. And now that's all we had to do, right? That is the end of our chain rule process, and that is also the end of our product rule process. So now you can see how these different derivative rules work together to take a derivative of a more complex function that you wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So now let's simplify what we have here. We're going to have that this is equal to 3 times cosine of 3x squared, right? We have a cosine 3x here and a cosine 3x here. So we'll have cosine squared of 3x. And then this negative will come out, so we will have minus, and then we'll have this 3, so we'll have minus 3 times this sine 3x times this sine 3x, which would be sine squared 3x. So we will have sine squared 3x. And that's going to be the derivative of our original function. Let's do another example. All right, next we have the function f of x equals cotangent squared of 2x. And so we have a composite function here. And so let's identify our inner function and our outer function. Now first, let's redefine our function, because when we're working with those trig functions, when the trig function itself is squared, we write that squared in the middle of the function, but this is actually equal to cotangent of 2x quantity squared. And so now maybe it's a little bit easier to see what our inner function is and our outside function. And so I see that our outside function will be x squared. So I'll have outer is x squared. And then our inner function is this cotangent of 2x. And that's a little bit interesting, and I'll talk about that. But first, let's write down that this is the inner function of cotangent of 2x. So if you remember from our last example, or maybe just in general, that when we had sine of 3x, that was a composite function as well. So this is also a composite function. We have a composite function within a composite function. So we're actually going to be using the chain rule multiple times here. And this is where things can get a little tricky and where some people start to get confused. So I'm going to try my best to really explain to you how we go about this, because now our inner function also has an inside and an outside function. So let's kind of branch off here and write that. So here we're going to have the outer is cotangent x, and our inner is 2x. And so this is going to become important when we go through this chain rule process of taking the derivative of this function. And so if we go to take the derivative, if we have f prime of x, it's going to be equal first to the derivative of our outside function here. So first we're going to be taking the derivative of this x squared quantity, right? So we're going to have 2 times this inside function, right? We're not going to change that at all. So we're going to have cotangent of 2x, and then we're going to subtract 1 from our exponent, right? We're just following our power rule here, so we'll have 2 minus 1. And then we're going to multiply by the derivative of our inside function. But once again, we have another chain rule. So now we kind of start this process all over again. So we already went through this, right? We took the derivative of our x squared outer function. Now we are working on our inner function, which now leads us to our next chain rule. So once again, if we're going to take the derivative of this cotangent of 2x, we have to identify what the outer function is and the inner function is. And we did that already. So now let's start by taking the derivative of our outer function. So we're going to have the derivative of cotangent. And if you remember, the derivative of cotangent x is negative cosecant squared x. And in this case, we want to keep that inside function the same. So we're still going to have that 2x. And that would be the first part of our derivative. Now we're still taking the derivative of this inside function. We now have to take the derivative of the inside, right? So we took the derivative of our outer function, cotangent x, and now we want to take the derivative of our inner function, 2x, which the derivative of 2x is just going to be 2. And so now we're done. Let's look back at what we did here. We started by taking the derivative of this function, and we started with the outside function, which this is the derivative of, and then we moved on to take the derivative of our inside function, which also happened to be a composite function. So we had to first take the derivative of that outside function, which was cotangent x, and then we took the derivative of that inside function, which was 2x, and that's where this 2 came from. So now we can take all this work we have here and simplify it to get our final answer. All right, so I cleaned it up a little bit, and now we can go through. We're going to have that this is equal to 4, right? If we have 2 times 2. In fact, we can even take out this negative here. We'll have negative 4 times cotangent of 2x, right? This exponent right here is just going to be 1, so we just have cotangent of 2x, and then we'll have it multiplied by this cosecant squared of 2x. So we'll have cosecant squared 2x. And we already took care of that negative and put it out front. So this is actually our final answer in our derivative of our original function. So this is an example of where you have a chain rule within a chain rule, and that can get very difficult if you do not understand the chain rule. So hopefully this was helpful. That process of identifying the inner and outer functions was helpful to finding this derivative. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. All right, so that's all I had for this example video. Hopefully you were able to follow these examples and they were helpful to learning how to use the chain rule. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. But if you don't have any questions, that's all I have for now. So I will see you next time.